And the way to beat the narrative, the way that we've done on our channel, is through the use of metadata and through the use of computer-generated data or machine-generated data. We established a network, an IP address network, for instance, of Schiff and Strzok working together. If you know that Schiff and Strzok are working together, you take everything the FBI says, especially national security related, with a grain of salt. If you know Schiff is working together, you take everything he says as being fed to him by the FBI. That's just with 2 connections. You add then in Fruman and Parnas into the network, and these are United States military sites, DOD site, Department of Information in Columbus. You know that Adam Schiff's dad worked for the precursor of the Department of Information Systems for DOD out in Hollywood. And then you add in the 2 big people that are going to be presented in Perp Walk in October, Fruman and Parnas, 2 20-year criminals who've been doing penny stocks for different people in joint ventures and weapons joint ventures. And then you start saying and seeing that and not believing anything that these people say. It's basically like pulling the curtain back on the Wizard of Oz, and you say, hey, I get it. It's a weapons network, and they're going to use every means possible to leak and lies and create false narratives about the opposition in order to keep their business going. Oh, I get it. This is easy. Well, let's add 2 more people, because this is the kind of analysis that helps you build this out. Let's talk about the dossier. The dossier, 2 more people I'm going to add today. You may not recognize one of them, but you will recognize the other one, which is Mifsud. The very strong connection, remember, between Buttigieg and Mifsud. He's also got, again, a Maltese resident, not a U.S. resident, with the spy school in Malta, the spy school in Rome, in Link University, going back and forth to all these countries all over the Mediterranean, going back and forth to the London Policy Center with George Papadopoulos, right? Not a U.S. citizen who has connections to this same DOD information center in Columbus. Can you see where Adam Schiff could have somebody configure these BlackBerries? And that's why all these BlackBerries, these Gaunter BlackBerries, are mapping back to the Defense Information Systems Agency in Columbus. Kind of interesting. Well, it's even more interesting if you add yet another source to the dossier, which is a guy named Timofeev. He's, again, the Russian weapons broker. He seems like the go-between to Putin for all these different joint ventures. They talk about it down in Sochi, if you remember that Valdez conference or the Valdai conference of dossier fame. There's not a lot of sources left for the Trump dossier that don't map back to these IP addresses. This seems to be another one of those things. There's a disinformation network that's sort of layered on top of this weapons network. Adam Schiff makes sure all these NATO nations, the 28 nations Trump just mentioned in his speech, and the longest war in American history, 29 years, 19-year war, longest war in history by far, the Afghanistan war, the war where Imran Awan is spending 9 months a year in Pakistan, and 28 nations are getting weapons. Now, would any of those 7 other nations be susceptible to bribes by Fruman and Parnas? Again, we're not speculating. We know Parnas was a 17-year FBI informant. So that's how we're using the information, IP addresses, to actually cut through the false narratives, actually give you the real picture of what's going on. And again, you have that advantage of sort of pulling the curtain back on the wizard, if you will, that's trying to pull